welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season, as we look ahead to Saints' final ever trip to Wakefield Trinity this weekend. Good evening, Kevin. How are you?
Good evening. Good. You can't say that yet. You can't say that yet. We might get them in the cup in the next couple of years as well.
Oh, we can hope. We can hope. How are you? Looking forward to another weekend of top-class Super League action.
Another weekend of M62 travel. Top-class Super League action. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be good weather as well for the trip over to the city of Wakefield. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Hope you are too.
800 sold so far. Hopefully we'll get to 1,000 with walk-ups on the day. Another good following last week at Cass. The big news we'll probably start with this week is that one that's probably been in the rugby league media, has been highlighted on social media over the last week. And that was the disgraceful abuse received by Marcus Griffiths following refereeing Huddersfield versus Leeds this week. He received homophobic abuse. Now, I do want to start off by saying I've seen people saying there's no place for it and then using the words in rugby league at the end of it. It's not a rugby league problem. It is a societal problem. Anybody who believes that people walk into a rugby league ground and become homophobic or racist and aren't like that in their normal lives are completely wrong. It should be there is no place for homophobia, full stop. There is no place for racism, full stop. It shouldn't happen. Now, I have seen some talking, saying that it's because of the scrutiny that refereeing decisions come under. I'm not having that at all, Kev.
No, that's fair enough. And I'd like to echo what you say, that it was absolutely abhorrent, the messages that Marcus Griffiths received. It's kind of more prevalent to us because we have Marcus Griffiths as our referee. He's the man in charge of the game on Sunday. When you look at the people blaming the scrutiny, I think scrutiny's fine. Scrutiny's normal. When people then use that as an excuse to go and be homophobic, be racist, question whether your parents were married when you were born, anything like that, it's bang out of order. Absolutely bang out of order. But you're right. It's a societal problem that people think they can get away with that type of behaviour. And it's wrong. It's wrong to be lazy and just blame scrutiny, which, as I say, it's normal. And not look at the real issues of education, of society, of faceless accounts, thinking that it's big, clever, and the thing to do when it's none of them things, to go after someone that, at the end of the day, without the likes of Mr. Griffiths and Mr. Thaler, you've not got a game. You've not got a game. So doing that, I just don't get it. I just don't get why people in their head think that's a good idea, and then pick up a phone and type it and then press send and still think it's a good idea.
I don't care what the referee's sexuality is. I don't care where the referee comes from. I don't care what car he drives. I have no interest. I think we've tweeted previously, and it applies to players as well. If you go home after a game and you directly tweet a player or an official about their performance, sending them private messages with abuse, there is something wrong with you. But let me just say that there is a complete difference between commenting and talking about performance on the pitch as a fan account, for example. Now, we frequently highlight refereeing decisions that take place on the pitch. That is part and parcel of the sport. If you're not going to be able to discuss the performances of referees, decisions that take place, performances of players, qualities of players, then you may as well give up. But that should never, ever disintegrate into abuse.
Correct. With the IMG coming in and with the new Super League deal, all Super League games going to be available to watch. Scrutiny is going to go to levels beyond what we even know now, because all the games are going to be available either live on a catch-up. People will be able to record them, watch them back. It is going to push it and push it and push it. And as we say, scrutiny's fine, scrutiny's normal. But don't let that then be an excuse. If there's anybody watching who's DM'd a player, a referee, whoever, and made threats against them or being homophobic, you need to take that step back. You need to stop living on social media. You need to be part of the real world. We've said it in the past on our social media accounts when we have scrutinised. I think that the one that pops into my mind is about Liam Moore saying he's an excellent ref, and then saying that fans implying that referees cheat are a disgrace. The referees have got a tough enough job as it is. If someone can tell me exactly who is the permanent head of referees at the minute and who's looking after them, I'd be most grateful. The rules change for them every season. You have a look at six agains. Your punters in the crowd don't know what a six again's been given for because there's only the signal to show the tackle count's white clean. The most important people, though, the players, they know what it's for. Well, they should do because it's communicated to them. But there is a difference between scrutinising and being an idiot. And I wanted to use a much harsher word than idiot there. You can scrutinise. You can look at a decision and say, what do you think about that? It's opinion. It's like saying, what do you think about Jack Welsby's performance? Who do you think was the best player on the opposition team? Because if you can't scrutinise one thing, then are we putting that rule across everything that we can't scrutinise anything at all? In which case, what's the point in watching sport?
Yeah, because let's be honest, what are the match review panel doing on a Monday morning? They're rewatching an 80-minute game and they're making decisions that the referee hasn't made on the pitch. So they're putting the referee's performance under scrutiny and saying the referees didn't make the right calls. And then the next day, the disciplinary panel, the appeals board, are then saying the match review panel hasn't done their job properly as well. So there is scrutiny at every point, regardless of how you look at it. One of the last things I want to add on this, and I've noticed it a couple of times, outside of grounds after games, when referees are leaving the stadium and there's people hanging around, obviously trying to get autographs from the favourite players, etc. Parents allowing their children, or even parents themselves sometimes, abusing the referees as they leave the stadium, telling them that they can't do the job properly. That is the sort of culture that leads to abuse. For me, once they leave the field, that's game over. That's where it stops. They are guys giving their all. It's a job. It's a livelihood. You don't expect to leave your job, walk outside of work, and somebody to be giving you abuse for it.
Yeah, what was the game after us at Magic? Was it Warrington Leeds?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember, people were cheering, the Warrington and Leeds players had to walk in, and as we were leaving, they were walking past. And also walking past was Jack Smith and his team of refs for the day. And I, not tongue-in-cheek, but shouted, "Go on, the refs!" because they weren't getting any love. It raised a laugh, and one of them saw me in my Saints Heritage shirt and was like, "Oh, I like that shirt, mate." It just showed that bit of human side.
Don't say that, Kev. They'll be accusing them of bias next.
Yeah, exactly. But it just showed that he was up for a laugh of he wasn't getting it. In fact, I think he actually went, "Yeah, come on," like as in, "Yeah, they're not getting any love." So he was going in like a player, and it was like it's just something that kind of stuck in my mind. As I say, one of his touch judges or one of the reserve ref or whoever it was complimentary of the Saints heritage kit, saying, "Oh, I love how they're doing stuff like that," which puts him in my good books as well. And it just shows that they are human beings. That, you know what, we saw some of them coming out after Castleford, and at no point do you ever think of kind of saying to them anything like to the face other than, "Was that a tough one today?" Like, what? Not giving them your critique on it, just asking them what it's about. That's all you would do. I think we asked Chris Kendall when Regan Grace scored like 2 90-meter tries at Headingley when we were all in lockdown, and we tweeted him and said, "Do you get do you think when somebody like Regan Grace goes through a gap again, do you think, no?" And he replied to us and was like, "No comment, but yes." And it was great that you can have that interaction. So listen, they're in an entertainment industry. They know they're going to get scrutiny. They know that. But once it goes across the line and becomes anything personal about gender, race, sexuality, anything like that,
I think any abuse, full stop.
It's abhorrent. I'll use that word again. It's abhorrent. Once the game's over, everybody shakes hands, come off. Yeah, you can then review the game. You can then scrutinise decisions, but keep it professional. Don't be thinking that messaging players, referees, etc., abusing them, threatening them, whatever, is the right thing to do. It's a shame that it's come to us having to spend the first couple of minutes of the show speaking about this, but it needed doing. As I say, hopefully it gets a warm welcome at Wakefield on Sunday, and hopefully everybody on that pitch has a good game, because as people saying on social media and the likes, when they're backing referees don't drop the ball, referees don't miss tackles, referees don't miss conversions. It's down to, you can take the game by the scruff of the neck and you win the game, and that's what we need to do on Sunday.
Now, I think that's one of the important things you said there, Kev. Listen, we are moaners on social media, but what you will never ever see from the Redvee account is abuse towards officials. But I think it does come with the territory. I don't know whether you've seen today's Daily Star, Kev.
I haven't, no. Very good.
Miserable gits called Dave, Sarah, Paul, James, and Emma are Britain's biggest moaners. Now, that's something to really moan about. See, it's not my fault, Kev. It is not my fault. It's a fact.
Yeah, there's a couple of worrying names on there, aren't there?
It is. Unfortunately for you, you've only got to find the other three, and you've got the bingo card.
It's like a terrible Beatles lineup. I'm also slightly worried that Mike Tyndall's wearing beer goggles that face down a mutant Moggy, or have I read that wrong as well?
I like my hair on that.
Yeah, I wish I had that head of her.
Right, moving on. Listen, we're gonna have to use that as the picture for the video, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Nothing like self-depreciating humour, eh?
No, exactly right.
85p for that, by the way. Bizarre.
Well, there we go.
Big news today. Wesley Bruines is likely to sign for Warrington Wolves for 2024. He obviously came to the club on a one-year deal. He hasn't had a chance to break through into the first team, and it looks like he's going to be moving on to pastures new next season. You have to say it's probably going to be the right move for him. He obviously probably needs to play first team rugby. He's not going to, or he hasn't been able to break into our team this year. Is unlikely to next year either. So stepping down a level and going to a team where he's going to get games is probably the right option. You laugh. That's true.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think there's a lot in the Sam Burgess link there, because he was it South Sydney? And with Sam Burgess being part of the coaching staff, he probably knows what he's getting from Wes. As you say, he's probably been unlucky. He was unlucky not to make his debut as well, when he got shooed away, possibly by John Bennison, I think it was, towards the end of a game earlier in the year, just as he was about to come on. But see all the time on social media, people have been asking for him to be given a go. I think once you get down to this and started this moment in the season, you don't start giving people a go. You're sticking with the lads who've been in your first team, in their positions as well. So you're not going to start, say, throwing Ben Davies out for Wes coming in. If there's an injury crisis, that's when Wes will get his chance. As we say all the time,
Kev, we're not a club that just gives people a go.
Yeah.
If you play in a Saints jersey, you have earned the right to play in a Saints jersey. Otherwise, there's 4 or 5 players at the back end of our squad who we'd have all give games to this year. You don't get it for being nice.
Yeah, I think, and listen, the word "earned," people might think we're being harsh, but you've got to have the ability to back it up, and the experience. You get the experience by playing. That's why Ben Davies is in the position he's in now, and has been taking that left centre spot while Conrad's been out injured, and while Will Hopewarte has been out injured. So he's been given that chance, and he is obviously performing in training better than, or at least as good as, Wes Bruines is, but he's got the experience and he's got the versatility that he can play in a couple of different positions. People might not necessarily want him at 6, but he can do it if he needs to. If he had to go in there for 20 minutes, he could go and do it. I think sometimes as well with people, we've said this before, I've said this a lot, players become world beaters when they're not playing. Look at the John Bennison, T. Ritson thing, where at first it was why is T not in, because he's the really, really quick player. We need that speed. He comes in, and then immediately it's, he's not quick enough. Well, he's quicker than anybody else in that back line. But they want John Bennison in. It's fine to change your mind, but when you're flip-flopping all the time and making players into better players than they are, then it just doesn't make sense to me. Where's
players also surprisingly become world beaters when they're playing championship amateurs.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Wes might have something in future, and I've seen people saying, he's turning it up at Swinton and North Wales. It's a step down. In fact, it's probably 2. It's good for some players. It gets them through. So I think it's probably more beneficial for your forwards, where you see George Delaney is going up against tough, grizzled forwards who are playing because they'll get the win bonus and it'll add an extra couple of quid to the pot. Whether it does your backs as well, I'm not entirely sure. But personally, I'm not seeing enough of Wes to say that we're either missing out on something or it's the right decision to let him go. I'd have liked to have seen him a little bit more, whether that was first team, if we could have shoehorned him in somewhere earlier in the season, or in the reserves a little bit more, but they only play every other week. So we don't usually make too many bad decisions when it comes to people going, to youngsters going. I suppose that's it for him on Wes. It's a shame that he hasn't got the chance, but that's sport.
I think we wish him all the best, except when he's playing against Saints. Because obviously, if he comes good, he'll be a player that we'll go in for in the next couple of years and pluck him away from Warrington, just like we've done with Darrell Clark. Circumstances mean there hasn't been a chance to have any sort of rotation in the team this year, just given that we put ourselves behind the 8 ball a little bit early on in the year and we've been playing catch up. But yeah, wish him all the best.
Yeah.
He's had a better contract offer if we even offered one at Warrington. And it's his job now to go and perform and say to Saints that you made a mistake by letting me go.
Correct.
But as you say, and I think this is the one we really need to look at, and we talk about every year when this happens with a young player, how many young players have Saints chosen to let go who have come back to bite us? I can't think of one.
No.
People always quote Lee Breers, but you had Sean Long, so he didn't.
Yeah. Well, and I'd also look at the championships and World Cup challenges we won in the time with Sean Long at the helm and Challenge Cups and stuff like that. It's Lee Breers is probably the closest to it because he went on to have a good career at Warrington, turned into one of Warrington's probably one of their all-time best. And I'm not going to start quoting the best team, but he's probably the closest to it, isn't he?
Yep. Right then, Kev, squad for Sunday. 2 changes.
Yeah, the aforementioned Wes Bruins and Matty Foster drop out as Matty Lees, and that pictured big hunk of love there, Conrad, comes back into the squad.
Has Conrad replaced Wes Bruins on ability or just out of spite that he signed for Warrington?
A little bit of both.
Do you know what I'm really glad about this week? And I see Wello talk about it, obviously, because we played the Huddersfield game the week of the Challenge Cup final. Players didn't get time off. What I was really glad to see was that after the Castleford game, various players getting a chance to go away with the families, take a break, just have a nice couple of days away, a nice couple of days respite before coming back in for the business end of the season. And apart from Conrad enjoying his holidays, just filming Budgie Smuggler adverts.
Yes. Yeah. Would you expect anything different? Because I certainly wouldn't. No, it's good. Obviously, people will then have the worry that we might come in a little bit flat because players have been away and kind of had that downtime and then have to bring themselves back in and up. But as long as we get the 2 points on Sunday, you can park all that. If we don't, then question, obviously, scrutiny will be put upon that decision. But as long as we get the 2 points on Sunday and players are coming back with a little bit of sun on the backs, a little bit of a rest, then, as you said, it's good for getting into the business end of the competition.
To be fair, they got 4 days off. They were back in Wednesday for a Sunday fixture, so they've still had good 3 or 4 days of training. It's not just about getting the 2 points on Sunday, though, Kev. It's about ratcheting up the points.
Well, Wello's said differently on this, hasn't he?
I think as a coach, you've got to, haven't you? You can't go in and say, yeah, we need to win by, or we want to win by 40, we want to win by 50, because it's disrespectful. But we want to win by 40 or we want to win by 50.
I think as long as you keep winning, that points difference will look after itself.
Will it? Not when you're level on points, because Wigan could keep winning as well. The important thing is we've got to finish in that top 2. First of all, to get the week off, and second of all, to get a home playoff. Now, with Catalan being dragged back into it, and we could well find themselves off top spot at the weekend, we could potentially face a scenario where we finish third and still end up having to go to Catalan if they finish second.
True. But I do think with the way that we played, especially in the first half against Castleford, If we keep winning, then our points difference will look after itself. I genuinely believe that. Who have we got coming up? So we've got Wakefield away, we've got Lee at home, and Lee have obviously had a bit of a hex over us this season. We've got Warrington and we've got So we can put points on the board as we have done against most of them teams this season.
I'm not put you on the spot then.
Go on.
Win all 4. Where do we finish?
Second.
Above who?
Who've Catalan got?
Hull KR away, Wakefield away, Leeds at home, Salford away.
Behind Catalan. I think we'll overtake Wigan's points difference.
I think Catalan will drop a game.
Do you?
I think they'll lose at Hull KR tonight.
Oh, do you? Oh, I've gone for Catalan in that one. I think there'll be a big reaction.
I think KR are strong at home, and I wouldn't rule them out losing at Salford in the last game either. Now Wigan, they have got Salford at home, win. Leeds away, win. Castleford at home, win. Lee away, win, because Lee will have nothing to play for and will rest everyone for the week off.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
So we need to outscore Wigan.
Yeah, with the way that the season's gone so far, though, I wouldn't put it past Lee winning. Because you say Lee will rest everybody. Who can they rest them for? They've not got the squad like Hull KR before the cup final when Hull KR were playing players with number 40.
You can't see them going full tilt at it, though, knowing that they're going to be playing the following week. And Wigan would have something to play for.
If you don't go full tilt at a game in rugby league, you'll come out with injuries and suspensions, and it won't matter. You've got to go full tilt at it.
Okay, right. Our team on Sunday, Kev. Matty Lees comes straight back in, you'd presume, as does
Correct.
Connie.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. I can see the Connie and Tommy Makinson combination being put back in, which is a shame because I think Percy and Tommy have worked really well together.
I think they'll leave them. I think he'll put
Connie out with Benno.
John Benison.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think that I would bring Lees into the starting lineup for George Delaney. George still being a young lad, he doesn't need to just keep starting these games when we've got the likes of Matty Lees and Morgan Knowles there. He can step back onto the bench, and then it's a straight shootout between Dan Norman and Sam Royal.
Yes, I would. I don't know. Is the answer?
Well, there's a couple of things there that if you've got Knowles at prop and you need a second rower, you can always, if you have a bigger bench, you can drop Knowles back into 13, move Bell to second row, and then you've still got your props. Or you've got Sam Royal, who can prop, is probably playing less minutes at the minute than Dan Norman, but can fit into that second row. And if need be, has played a little bit of centre as well. So there's arguments for and against. I would imagine that I'm going to get this wrong by saying it'll be Dan Norman above Sam Royal on the bench.
Yes, and do you know what? I believe that would be the right option. And the reason I believe that to be the right option would be we're playing Lee next week. You need to protect your props at all costs. So if the game's won against Wakefield and you can give George Delaney a prolonged rest, or you can take Matty Lees off a little bit earlier and you've got Dan Norman to come in and do a job, that's what you do. Because you can not only can you not afford injuries, leaving players on the park leaves them open to the MRP banning.
Yeah, true.
Wakefield squad then, Kev.
Yeah, 3 changes. Jowett, Lynn, and Whitbread are out, and Salabio, Kershaw, and Harry Bowles are all in.
Keeping the fans sweet there.
Yeah, with his factory just 62.
Every time, without fail. One thing that always stands out about that Wakefield squad is if you went back 7-8 years, it almost feels like quite a few of them names would still be there.
Really?
Not necessarily. What I want to say is it's a very aging squad. Lynham, Batty, Liam Hood, Matty Ashurst, Liam Kay, Josh Bowden, Josh Griffin. There's a lot of older players there. Luke Gale, who've never actually hit the heights. If they lose Sunday, are they going down?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd say they're going down. I'd say they're in the prime spot. The games are running out now. It's going to take
four to play, and the 2 points behind Cass with a vastly worse off points difference. Now
I just can't see it.
Castleford, I've got Warrington away, Hull at home, Wigan away, Leeds away. They could pick up a win there, couldn't they?
They could do. I mean, both teams could completely strike out. But yeah, I just think Castleford, if they get players back out on the park and play more like the second half, were all right, we've taken our foot off the gas. If they play like that, they will be fine.
Wakefield, even if Castleford don't win another game, you'd assume Wakefield would have to win 2.
Yeah.
Their last 4 fixtures are us, Catalan, Lee, and Hull KR.
See, I think that's a tougher running.
I don't see where the win comes there.
No, I think that's a tougher running.
Hull KR at home is the last game, which is probably the most winnable. And by that point, he could already be gone.
Yeah. Eek. Doesn't look good for him, does it?
Doesn't. So the question is, Kev, what cake are we getting to celebrate?
Chocolate. Always chocolate.
Once Wakefield's gone, who's next? Who are we after going next? It'd be Featherstone, won't it, if they come up?
Huddersfield.
Well, apart from Featherstone, Huddersfield offer absolutely nothing to this sport. It's just a sea of nothingness. Like, at least, like, you go to Salford, at least they are getting a decentish crowd for the size of the ground. It's just, you sit at Huddersfield, it's like seeing a yacht in the middle of the Atlantic on a rainy day.
I don't get where this analogy is going.
Like one person in a 25,000 seater stadium.
Fair enough.
Right. Right, predictions then, Kev.
It's always, I feel like it's always tough when we go over there.
We always struggle. Last year was
10.
grim, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the golden point one, wasn't it?
And we didn't deserve to win that.
We didn't deserve that, no. Yeah, 6 by 10.
6 by 56. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you for the instant fan reaction on Sunday. Come on, the S-Men.